All right. Good morning, everyone. Kim Kaiser here. I am streaming actually to YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook all this morning. And I wanted to come forth this morning and talk about a topic that often comes up in my coaching practice. Often I see a lot on social media about, and it's about now or later. Okay. And I want us to start to recognize whether we're living for now or we're putting off things till a lot later in life. So, if you join me this morning here live, or if you happen to catch the replay, just comment on any of the platforms that you happen to be on and let me know you were here. I will round up and definitely take a look at your comments once the broadcast is done. I don't think with StreamYard I can see who is commenting unless you say your name or unless you give StreamYard um, permission to say your name, to post your name. So I want to talk about this notion of now and later. So here, like I'm going to start with a deep philosophical truth. Okay, I'm going to start with simplicity because that is who I am. That I boil things down into the simplest truth that I can. And when I talk about now and later, here is the truth that any of us, no matter who we are, if we're humans living on the earth, all we really have is now. It's now. It's just this moment, right? We're not even guaranteed truly tomorrow. Okay. So when we often get in conversations in business, I see this a lot within my coaching practice. I see it in people who are thinking about potentially working with me. People sometimes put a lot of things in life off until later, right? For a lot of reasons. They maybe want to jump out and start their own business. It's really popular these days. Of course, a lot of people have reevaluated during this time of like great change in the world the last few years. But then they say, well, they kind of talk themselves out of like in the logical mind. Oh, I think I'll do that later when I'm more ready, when I'm more financially set, when things are settled, when I have this, personal growth spurt, whatever it is. Okay. But there's a lot of reasons why people put things off till later. And I think a lot of this has to do with the paradigm that we live in these days culturally. Most people live within a paradigm in the Western culture of of that we work for someone else, for a really long time, and we work hard and we work our way up the food chain, and then when we've done all that, hopefully we can retire. Like the paradigm itself holds within it later, right? I'm going to work hard now. And it's not that it's drudgery. I'll enjoy what I can, but my real enjoyment is going to come later when I retire. Because for now, I need to like work for a paycheck. I need to work for insurance. Like insurance really puts people off till later. I need to work for my 401k later, right? All these sorts of things. And so it has like I see so many people put their sort of real life and real living off until a later point in time. And very few people are doing this consciously. This is largely done unconsciously, um, because it's like woven into the culture for most people, and most people aren't questioning that. Okay. So, and I'm not saying you should. I'm just, throwing out a topic here because I know for me, I lived in that paradigm for a long time, and I did a number of corporate jobs, which actually I really enjoyed, but also felt like a pressure cooker to me. Like I was enjoying the development and the work I did as a leader, and I also lived in a paradigm where I kind of designed it as a pressure cooker. So that was hard. So it was hard for me to enjoy the now. I would often spend my days like really working hard during the day and getting a lot of fulfillment out of it. But then when I'd come home in the evening to spend time with my family, I would have just I'd be spent, so I couldn't like I was enjoying part of my life even though it was a pressure cooker, and then in the evening I couldn't really enjoy that part of my life very well because I had spent so much of my energy doing things that ultimately, yeah, were kind of against my deeper knowing, I suppose. But then I got a whiff about 11 years ago, I got a whiff of well, it's really about 15 years ago, I got a whiff of a higher life purpose for myself, right? And I couldn't I was actually sitting in um, a transformative leadership training that was a week long, and I saw people changing, and I saw myself change in this room. I walked in one person, walked out another person, and I got this tiny little whiff. 2006. Like, wow, I have to do this kind of work someday. Like, I have to do this kind of work someday. And then quickly, my mind said, like, that was a gut, like deep in my body knowing. And then quickly, my mind talked, well, how are you going to do that? You're an interior designer by background. You've been doing this kind of work for so long. How are you going to learn how to do this? But the seed was planted, like in my bodily knowing, it was planted. Right. And so then over the next 5 years, I would do a lot of training. I would actually go and support those classes that were so transformative to me. I would, had my own coach. I did all kinds of things so that then when I had a massive wake up call in 2011, which I won't talk about on here, maybe I'll talk about that one day. But I had a massive wake up call that I knew it was time to go fulfill on my life purpose. And that took me on the journey of being this mentor and coach to people, help people really develop their businesses, right? But had I been when I got that massive wake up call in 2011, had I been saying to myself, um, that like if I'd been saying to myself, well, I better wait till later, I would have missed the all of the now moments that have happened between January 2nd, I believe it was 2012, and today. Like I would miss all of that had I been putting things off till later. Okay. So this is what I want to talk to us today because in truth, no matter what your job is, no matter what your business is, no matter what your life is, you actually can choose to live it now and now and now. Like it's all we really have. And we put off till later the things that we truly want to do because we've, again, subscribed to this paradigm that we don't even realize we're in. A lot of people end up regretting that. A lot of people end up with not as much time at the end of their life as they thought they were going to have, right? And that's really why I'm talking here this morning. And that's why I'm going to get on I think more again these days. I haven't gotten on live a lot lately, but I feel called to it because I've been actually over the past few years I've been studying my own human design and gene keys. Some of you all have heard me talk about that. And the gene key I'm studying right now for myself is yes, Diane. Oh my gosh, blast from the past. Yay. Um, but my own gene key that is my radiance, my health, what keeps me healthy is this is going to sound crazy, y'all, being listened to. Right. And here I've been sort of like holed up in my house for a while with just like my clients and my child, my husband, but like that's kind of it. But this being listened to is healthy for me. It brings out my best radiance. It brings out my now, right? So this is why I'm talking about this today and why I think I'm gonna keep coming live more these days because I feel like it's time. There's an evolution that's happened from within me, an evolution that's happening out here, and I want to keep growing. But so this is what I'm talking about to you all today is if there's anything that you're saying later in life about like for instance I'm going to go back to the insurance example because it's the main one I hear when people are wanting to start a business. They often say, well, I can't do it because what would I do with insurance? I remember one of my clients asked me this one time. She was one of my corporate clients and she ended up starting her own business, but she's like, what about insurance? What about insurance? And some of you guys who are watching may have that question. And I said, you just write a check for it. Like, it's not really that hard. Is it more expensive? Maybe. It depends. It depends on your thing. Like, but can you do it? Of course you can. You don't have to depend on anyone else so that you can live your life now, right? It's not about the insurance, not about the 401. If you want and to have those and you have them, fantastic. But are you living your life now? Right? Because that's really it. The decisions, the development. I see a cat coming across the bookcase. We'll see if she makes an appearance. Yep, there she goes. Hello, miss. We have a kitten in the house, but this is all about this is the question to ask yourself. Like, let's just boil it down. What am I putting off till later? This is a question I've been asking myself lately. What am I putting off to later? Because here's the truth. If you need, and I work a lot with my clients on this in their businesses, if we need an idea, if we need a creative direction to go in, if we need just something fresh, something to be solved, that is a now thing. That is when we are like really in the now moment, we get better ideas. It's not that we get no ideas when we're thinking out into the future. It's just the quality of those ideas is ratcheted way down. Okay. And when we start to like take advantage of being in the here and now, being where our hands are, being where our bodies are. Like we have these bodies as markers to live right now because our body cannot be in the future, right? Only our head, only the mind can be out in the future. Only the mind can be in the past. But the body like tells us, are you here? Are you here in the here and now? I got a cat on my head. She is on the here and now always. It's always about what she wants in the moment. But am I living for now or am I living for later? What we do in the now can be great for later. I'm not suggesting that you live in the now and throw caution to the wind and set yourself up for a terrible later. What I'm saying is you can live in the now and set yourself up beautifully for the future, right? But we're each here to do something much bigger than ourselves, okay? We're each here, and that comes in a many different versions, 8 billion probably different versions. All right, but are we fulfilling it? In truth, I'm going to say something a tad controversial, but most of us are not built to live and work for large corporate entities. I'm not saying no one is. I'm saying most of us are not built for that. But we kind of built into our paradigm, built into that later paradigm is that there's safety and security in the big corporate cultures, right? In the big corporate structures. Not really true, but that is what we are. It's a paradigm that we're in. It's a paradigm that we're in. And it can feel very true, right? But there's so many incredible movements happening these days, with small companies growing into medium-sized companies, growing into large companies that have, yeah, this purpose that's much bigger than bettering one person's life, right? There's a lot of that. And there's also, like, to me, the veil is very thin where people have, like, big corporations have high ideals that are just lip service. We started seeing the destruction of that with Enron falling down, around 2001. I was lucky enough to have a front row seat to that, where we had all of the values and, in the lobby of, I don't even remember what they were, but, like integrity, I think was one of them. And that was not part of the company, right? So that started to crumble, and it's crumbling even more now, especially with social media, especially with technology, because people can see through the things that are not in integrity, that aren't true. There are too many ways for companies and people to be found out. So that could be a whole live right there, but we won't go there. But this is what we want to like talk about for ourselves is, yeah, look, am I putting something off till later? None of us are guaranteed the later. So we got to figure out now. Some of you all have seen, and this is a great example of a now idea. Some of you all have seen that I co-own an ice cream company here in Houston, Texas. I do coaching and mentoring, but I co-own this ice cream company with my husband, who's a chef. And we have been really kind of thinking about, like, how do we drive more traffic into the shop? We have a great wholesale business. We'd love to have more customers in our shop because we love feeding them what Steve makes. He makes incredible ice cream. And so we've been open about 18 months, I guess. And so one night we were out for a walk not long ago and like really in the moment, like just really enjoying our walk, like with the walk, not, off in outer space somewhere else. And all of a sudden, like kind of in this vein of like, wondering about how to have more people into the ice cream shop, being in the now moment, I said to him, babe, how long, how many Michelin star kitchens have you cooked in? I knew he had been employed by a couple of those restaurants, but I also knew he had staged. That's the chef term for like going in sort of like apprenticing for a short period of time or kind of like practicing, or some apprentice isn't quite the right word. How many of you staged in? How many of you employed in? Well, he said, I was employed by 3. Um, but then he started kind of counting on his fingers, and when he started counting, it was he got up to 12 on the walk. 12 Michelin star restaurants. And then when the whole list was done, it was 21. So 3 employed by, 18 cooked in. And I said, this is the gateway to more people in the shop. Why don't we've been wanting to do a wine dinner with ice cream. Like, why don't we do a Michelin star informed wine dinner? Right? Like this, and it was a now moment. These now moment ideas have sparkle and magic and this sort of thing. And so fast forward, a lot of you guys have seen on my social media, we're doing this and we sold the first round of tickets out in almost no time, like 24 hours, which we knew they would sell out, but we had no idea it'd be 24 hours. And so then we opened up 2 more seatings, but like, and we're working on it behind the scenes, this great creative project. It's all in the now. We have not had a moment where it's felt like drudgery or, ooh, this is hard, or how are we going to get people in? These normal things that people kind of insert into their business that has to do with this now and later paradigm, right? So this, I'm talking about the now moment, not because I want us to all be in this spiritual nirvana. Like, I don't really care about that. What I care about is people having practical solutions for their everyday problems, right? And one of these things is living for now and setting up now so that you can be incredibly set up for later, but not living in the now so that you have later set up, right? So this is the thing, bottom line. If you're finding that your now is filled with stress, it's filled with a lot of pushing, it's filled with a lot of like stuff you feel like you have to do or should do, you are living in the later paradigm. Okay. And so there are solutions to that. You can reach out to me if you want more kind of intense, work on that, or more in-depth work on that. But no, like really everything that you need to know is in this video. And then some people choose to come work with me because it's just fun to be shoulder to shoulder with someone else and have a partner in crime. Partner in, is it crime? Yeah, it kind of is. Kind of, some of it's kind of fun. That's what I wanted to say today. I appreciate each of you who has watched. I appreciate the comments that have been put on here now. I appreciate the ones that are coming later, and I will always check back. And I will come back with another video here pretty soon. Everyone have a phenomenal week.